Hi everybody, thanks for tuning into another video on TK's Tech Corner. Today we're going to be looking at this device here from a company called Aimzenix. It's the AX200 and it's a USB dongle, which is effectively a gaming keyboard and mouse adapter. Now the idea here is that this product is set to emulate a controller for your keyboard and mouse when it's connected, and this will unlock benefits on your shoot 'em ups such as controller assist. Now, questionable, that is probably going to be considered by most people as cheating, but each to their own. They've sent this through for a review, so we're going to have a quick look at it. There's probably not much to look at in the box other than the device and some documentation. And once it's running, once I've got it opened up, we'll probably do a quick test on it. I don't intend on using this device for gaming. I'm not that competitive a gamer anyway. I just play for fun. I don't compete in any way. I'm definitely not the greatest gamer. And again, it's just going to be me using this device just for the sake of testing it and showing you what it can do. Let me just get this thing open. Right, it's out of the box finally. And as you can see, a bit of paperwork there. We'll look at that again in a minute. And the device itself, which is not much bigger than one of the larger format USB keys. Them storage sort of things, right? You can see on the top there's one USB port for pass through that's got a keyboard and mouse logo on it. There's some on the side there as well. So we've got a C port, and we've also got I'm guessing that's going to be for power, and then we've also got the other port there for another keyboard and mouse. So you're not plugging your device into any specific port. Keyboard and mouse there, keyboard or mouse there, keyboard or mouse there, and you should be good to go. This is plug and play. There is a button at the top that might be a Bluetooth pairing button. We'll just find out what that is again in a minute. And the reason why that's there is probably, if it is, then it's going to be probably to pair it with this Geek Vice app, and there may be some profiles or customizations that you can enable for this device through the app. So I think we'll have a quick look at this, and then we'll just give it a quick spin and see what it's all about. So there is the QR code for the app, which I've already got installed on a phone here. What else have we got? It's showing power input, so it does look like it needs some sort of power input. And then it's got probably better if I look at English instructions, default key mapping. So it's showing you what it does for default key mapping. So that looks like an old Xbox style controller, and it's showing you what keyboard buttons and mouse buttons it's mapping to the controller layout. Because it's doing the mapping in reverse now, right? It's keyboard and mouse adapter that emulates that controller. So I think the best thing to do here now is give this thing a quick spin. I'm just thinking maybe before we do that, if it's worth testing out connectivity to the app. So let me just get this thing plugged into something. Right, quickest thing for me to do was to get the Steam Deck. So I've got this thing plugged into the Steam Deck. You can see the light is on, so it's powering through the USB port directly itself. I haven't had to plug in any auxiliary power to it yet, so I'm going to try and just go ahead without that for now. I've got the app launched here as well. So it does work. So it's found the device. You can see that there, right? So it's using some sort of Bluetooth LE. I've not had to do any sort of pairing as such. It's detected the device and it's showing connected. So if I go into general config, it's showing configuration for all the different options there. So you can see XY sensitivity, smoothness. There's going to be a lot of fine tuning that you can probably do with this. You can see that there as well, right? There's all sorts of options, menus there. Movement speed, trigger mode, so that saying like the hairpin trigger or whatever they call them, and you can see what's going on there as well, right? So ADS modes and how you activate ADS when you're in the game. So this is where you're basically looking down your site. Okay, and there's going to be other customizations you can probably do on there as well. So you got main config. It looks like you can probably do some customizations as well. Key mapping. So you get a lot of customization that you can do straight from your smartphone through this app. Fine tune it, get it how you like, and then I guess go ahead and cheat, right? So let's pause this and let's get on to some gaming on the PC. So taking a closer look at the application first before we test out some gaming. One of the things I did when I plugged in my keyboard was I did some button tests, right? So you can do that from up here. And the issue that I had when I was doing button tests, so you can see me moving my mouse around there or pressing mouse buttons, for example, and pressing keyboard buttons, was I noticed that the only buttons that were working on the keyboard were the left, control, shift and alternate buttons and the window button. Nothing else was actually working. So after a bit of digging around on the application, I noticed a setting when you click on that information icon on the AX200, once it's connected to your receiver, is I noticed the keyboard version selection. Now I'm using a Logitech G915 with a wireless Lightspeed dongle, and maybe with other keyboards I wouldn't have this issue, but that's the only keyboard I predominantly use, so but certainly for gaming. So I toggled from the default mode, which was A, to B, and as soon as I switched to B, it took about a minute. It resets, it sets some configuration on the device, it restarts, and then after that everything was working absolutely fine. The other thing you can do, we can just look at the default modes that when you start up, what is the default mode it starts in. I've started it in Xbox 360 launch mode because that's the one I'm predominantly going to be using. The fact that I've now selected that as an option means it's going to just restart the device. It's going to update the setting to effectively what it was anyway, but just to show you what it does, I'm going to click add again. It should hopefully scan for the device. If it's restarted, it's going to connect to it over Bluetooth LE. There's no pairing required, and you can see I'm in the application again. So at this point, let's talk about the configuration. So the configurations are really important. This is effectively the key. This is how you are telling or programming the keystrokes on your keyboard to map to buttons on your gamepad of choice. So if we go here, just to show you how I got this, the default config was just general config. It's now off. You can only have one on at a time. You can see when I turn general on, COD goes off, and vice versa. So I select the plus button here and I click official config. And what it will do is it will load up all the official configurations that have been uploaded by Aimzenix or Gamevice. So in this case, I selected COD 21. It added it as a profile, and then I just add another one just to show you what happens. So if I do Marvel Rivals, for example, it will specify a really good default layout. Now, if I go here, I can turn on Marvel Rivals, for example, and then that would be kicking into place. So for COD, if we look at edit, we can look at all the different game settings here, showing you a summary of the configuration for this profile. And then when you go into it, you can start doing really, really detailed configuration. So by default, this stock layout seems to work absolutely fine. You can see all the different key bindings here. And for example, it's showing you the key mappings for the buttons on the keyboard to actual buttons and the sticks on the gamepad. So that's really, really nice visual representation of the actual configuration. And then of course you can actually go ahead and configure anything else you want. You can customize and you can save those settings. So on that note, I think what I'll do is I'll switch over to, actually, no, sorry, while I'm here, I want to just have a look at some other stuff as well. So it's also worth noting this flex map. This is really this is really important, by the way, to understand whether this is enabled or disabled. So what you can do is you can set hotkeys to enable or disable these flex map and office mode settings. So for example, if I set that to F12, now that's set to F12. When I press F12 on the keyboard, that will toggle on and off, right? And effectively what FlexMap and Office Mode does is FlexMap allows you to, and it would probably tell us here if I can click on it properly. No, yeah, I can. It gives you information what it does there. So effectively switching between the keyboard and mouse mode and the actual I guess the emulated or simulated joystick mode. So you can toggle that with the button of your choice or that you've programmed on your keyboard. In my case now it will be F12. And then F10 for office mode, this is the default selection, effectively toggles disabling all other shortcut keys so that they don't interfere if you're getting some work done. So you don't need to keep removing and plugging in the device to switch between, you know, just normal keyboard and mouse usage for work or whatever else you're using it for, and gaming modes. You can leave the device in there and you could just toggle on and off these features and these button mappings. So that is all enabled. You can see here there's some sensitivity options as well, so you can change the sensitivity of the emulated XY axes, for example there. The smoothness is adjustable, and also some other simulation and emulation. This is important. It says adjust to a random value to avoid detection risks. So obviously games will have anti-cheat type mechanisms built into them and potentially be able to pick up the fact that you're using a device which may be considered a cheating device. Personally, I wouldn't use this device to play online because I wouldn't risk getting my account banned. But what I would probably mess around with it on is if there's games that didn't support keyboard and mouse and only supported controller, then I could potentially use this as a proxy to enable keyboard and mouse functionality in games that don't natively support that sort of an input. So it's a nice to have product, right? Especially given the price point. They're pretty low price points for these products, but you get a lot out of them. And when I showcase this working, I'm going to demonstrate it using Call of Duty in Black Ops 6, but I'll just run, you know, the campaign. It'll probably be at the beginning because I haven't really played the campaign much, but we should see the controller's aim assist working whilst I'm playing with a keyboard and mouse, because that is not just a feature that is enabled in multiplayer, it's something that also works in the campaign mode as well. So we'll be able to test the functionality of that there. So if I just save that, actually I don't need to save it, it's updated the settings anyway. I want to, oh, it is asking me to save. I'm not really bothered about saving. Default configuration is probably going to be good enough. So now let's go over to the PC and let's test this out in Call of Duty Black Ops 6 in the campaign mode. So Call of Duty Black Ops 6 campaign here is loaded and ready to go. I'm just going to go into the settings menu here and show you that we're currently in controller mode. And if I go to aiming, we'll also see that the aim assist is also active. So you can see that there, target aim assist and also ADS aim assist both enabled. So when we go into the campaign, we should see that working, and hopefully I can demonstrate it. So first things first, the keyboard, you can see the keyboard and mouse there in the bottom right hand corner. The movement is working, but when I'm moving around the mouse, no look working through the mouse at all. Now if I press the F12 button, so you remember that setting I showed you in the app, now all of a sudden I am hopefully going to have some success with mouse, so that's working absolutely fine as well. And you can see even using shift, so the button mappings through that profile, everything is working fine as expected. And hopefully I'll be able to show you some ADS working. So you can see that there, right? ADS was locking on with the aim assist to the play. You can see the enemies there and I'm able to lock onto them quite easily. Now I'm going to die a few times, so I can just show you that again. It means it's an easy point to get to with enemies, just to try and show the functionality a bit more, but you can see it working if you look carefully. Aim assist isn't always easy to notice, but you can see that there, as soon as I lock in, it's locking onto the enemy. So again there, let's do it again a few times just so that you get an idea of what's going on. And you can see the whole time just over here where my hand's waving to you that this is in keyboard and mouse, but it's in the gamepad mode. Now again, you see the benefit here, just talking about other games in general and where you could use this. If there's a game that doesn't support native keyboard and mouse input, but you want to use them, you can set up a profile, custom profile in the app, and you can create your button mappings, and then you can play those games with keyboard and mouse and know that that's going to work absolutely fine. So you can see that's just locking on very, very nicely, working absolutely fine. So you get the idea there. This device is doing exactly what it says on the tin. You can also see there near the actual bottom right hand corner of the gaming screen where that grenade is, or sorry, where the shield is. It's showing the gamepad buttons there as well, right? So now I don't know what I've mapped to X, well, definitely not that. I'd have to check the application again to see what I've mapped to X, but once I've found that, I'll be able to open this door. There we go, it's actually the F button. So that's working absolutely fine as well. Now I haven't done the mappings, I'm using the default profile that I showed you for COD, so I'd probably have to just bring that up and keep it next to me for a little while just to understand what the button mappings are. But you get the idea, it's working absolutely fine. So this product does what it says on the tin. It's a plug and play adapter to switch your keyboard and mouse into or emulate a gamepad for your keyboard and mouse inputs. Works absolutely fine. We've seen it working with some success there, and I didn't have to really do much to set it up and get it going, other than the initial profile that I already downloaded from their pre-configurations that are available within the app. So if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you've got any questions, please ask them in the comment section below. And if you haven't already done so, but you do enjoy the video, please hit that subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner so you can be notified of my future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.